right, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Scorpio Ascendant YouTube channel. My name is Lala Monfleury, for those of you who don't know. Today we're going to be talking about Pluto in the 11th house, but before we get started, if you haven't already, please go online, find a natal birth chart calculator, and get your planetary placements done. I can't stress enough how important it is to find out what energy you were born with. This will help you with your spiritual growth, enlightenment, and your journey to self-development. If you do not know how to read your birth chart and you would like help with that, please feel free to email me. I have my email at the front and the back of this video. So without further ado, let's talk about the rogue, renegade, revolutionary known as Pluto in the 11th house. So just a brief recap, if you don't know already, of what Pluto represents. He is the Lord of the 8th house, ruled by Scorpio. He represents death, trauma, transformation. He represents other people's resources. He represents sex and taboo subjects and the occult and black magic. He represents other people's resources, the finances of your joint finances with your spouse, life after marriage, tons of stuff. But he's the 8th house, which is a really heavy karmic house. And now the 11th house, ruled by Aquarius, co-ruled by Saturn and Uranus, and ruled by Aquarius, who is the unorthodox, goer against the grain. The 11th house represents network communities, your older siblings, your financial gains. So the amount of money you make can be seen from the 11th house. How you make your gains can be seen from the 11th house. Aquarius is also known for social justice. It is like people, but large groups of people, right? Society. So when you bring Pluto into the 11th house, Pluto doesn't like people. The only time Pluto likes people is when Pluto's dominating people, and when Pluto is in a position of control. However, Pluto has the capability to transform and transmute no matter what placement he's in. I actually like this placement because, let's start at childhood. So because Aquarius represents large network circles, as a child, you might have just felt like the black sheep, and you just didn't fit in, really. Not because there was necessarily something wrong with you. You just might not have agreed with how, life, society was. You might not have agreed with the fact that, everybody is a sheep following, a certain direction or just following the crowd. You might have been the type of person that was the lone wolf when you were growing up, because you might have just saw through the fragility of people's will and willpower, and how they're just so easily manipulated by societal norms and who said what was acceptable. And Pluto is known for carving out his own path and doing his own thing no matter where he's at. Pluto is naturally, in and of himself, a rebel and a revolutionary and a oppositional defiant. You know what I mean? People with strong Pluto doesn't like authority. He likes to be the authority. So when you bring him into the 11th house, you could see somebody that has a really close circle of friends that are maybe into a secret society, or like a non-profit organization, well, not non-profit, but like, or that's in a organization that is like really hard to get into. You kind of got to know someone to get into it. These people can also be the type of people that when they see something that like just isn't going, like doesn't like settle well with their soul, they could be the type of people that like will call it out or have the balls to buck up in the face of inequality, in the face of iniquity, in the face of suppression and oppression of people. People with Pluto in the 11th house are the people that'll be like, wait, hold up, fuck that shit. Like, that ain't going down and I'm not here for it. You know what I mean? And I love that because I got Pluto in the first house. That's my life. You know what I'm saying? So when I see other people with that energy, I'm like, yeah, that's right. That's right. You know what I'm saying? But that's because I have Mars in the first house. So, like, I'm with that. I'm with the shits. You know what I'm saying? But people with Pluto in the 11th house, they get to a point where other people look at them as leaders because they refuse to conform. These people are not going to be conforming to society. These people are going to be standing out, and people will be able to see that they stand out, and they'll do it in a way where it's like not fraudulent, and it's just like just their natural cadence is to stand out. You know, they're rogue. So also, Pluto represents black magic and the occult and sorcery. And so when you bring it into like high society, for instance, because Pluto, you know, can, as Pluto develops, you know, he has this like urge for like he could be considered like an elitist, because that's like what the true like yearning of that Pluto energy is, to be on top and to have control and to have no authority other than himself. So when you talk about black magic and you talk about, you know, secret societies, these are the type of people that could be like in some group or network, like a coven, practicing, you know, ancient forms of magic. And with that being said, Pluto has the potential to operate on both the lower and higher frequency. So if you have Pluto in the 11th house, you will have the choice of whether you choose the light lodge or the dark lodge. Because Pluto will naturally, if he's unchecked, lean towards the dark lodge. Yeah, like Dick Cheney has this placement. He has Pluto in Leo in the 11th house. And if you're not familiar with the atrocities that Dick Cheney is guilty of across the course of his career, you should probably look into that. I'm not going to cover them now. I'm actually going to do a entire other video about America's Pluto return and what that means. And that's probably going to be my next project after I wrap up this series. But yeah, people like Dick Cheney have Pluto in the 11th house. That's why it's important that you use this energy that you're born with for good and not for evil, because people with Pluto in the 11th house have the potential to either be the tyrant, with a complete lack of empathy for other people and do whatever it takes for their own material gains, and to have power and control over society and the masses at large. Or you could be the type of person that is a, you know, fearless leader that defends your people. So that's why free will is so important, and our birthright to have free will is because you as the native have the free will to choose that fate for yourself. Also, because the 11th house rules gains, and Pluto, ruler of the 8th house, rules other people's resources, sometimes the people might feel entitled to other people's finances. And or they might have a older friend that offers them financial assistance or like gives them, like gifts them money or helps them out in some way, but it always comes with like a price. And so after which that person that gifted the Pluto person, whatever, like material, financial, like help or aid, might feel like they own and possess that person now, because Pluto is very extremely possessive, and it doesn't just represent the energy that you hold, but also the energy that you attract. So be cautious of that. Also, to bring it back to childhood, I know I'm kind of like bouncing all over the place. The 11th house represents older siblings, and Pluto represents sex and taboo, and Aquarius is unorthodox relationships as well. Like you can see polygamy from a certain Aquarian Uranus squares and placements. So when you bring the Lord of taboo sex into the unorthodox house, you might have had you might have been subjected to some type of like sexual abuse by an older sibling. If so, I'm empathetic towards that, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that. This world is cruel and harsh, and that's why it's important to know what your contribution is to this world and how you can make it better. And so when people with Pluto in the first house get older, whatever that trauma is that they had experienced in childhood, they really like take it with them, and it becomes their like fuel on the fire of injustice, and that's what really gives them the motivation and the balls. These people have huge balls, not literally, but like these people really aren't afraid of standing up above the masses and speaking their piece, but as a child they might have been more evasive and maybe not have stood up so much for themselves as a child, but they did it more so in a way of like rebellion. Also, because of the 8th house ruling sex and taboo, and the 11th house being unorthodox again, these people might be, and also like societies and high societies, these people might be like really into like orgies or just like freaky unorthodox sex, because Pluto is taboo. 11th house is society, Pluto's sex, so you might see some of that as well if you have Pluto in the 11th house. But all in all, like, I'm really with that rogue renegade energy anyway. I'm really with that that type of energy that's like, I'm not going to follow, the regular benchmarks that society has for me, or I'm not going to just follow the crowd because that's what I'm supposed to do. Like, Pluto in the 11th house is not with that. Pluto in the 11th house is the trendsetter. You know what I mean? They don't get trend set. And like, I think that's admirable. I think it's cool. This can though go left if it's operating on the lower frequency and you feel like entitled to that position, and you will stomp on other people's heads to get to the top, or to get to, or like social climbers or opportunists and stuff like that. You can see that when Pluto is operating at a low vibration, but when you take that vibration and you raise it and you bring it to the light, it becomes your superpower. And it becomes the part of your life that nobody can really fuck with you. And that's why I love Pluto, and that's why it's cool, because if you are strong enough and you have what it takes, you can really be unstoppable if you tap into your Pluto energy and channel and honor it in the placement that it holds in your life. Let me see if there is anything else. Oh yeah, along with the lower energy of things, you might feel, if you're operating on a lower frequency, you might feel entitled to other people's finances. You might be the person that has a lot of wealth that uses it to financially dominate others, or to use your financial wealth to like control the narrative of your circle or society. Don't do that. Don't be the tyrant. Like, nobody wants to deal with the tyrant. Or you could be the person that like uplifts the people and is the leader and, you know, doesn't take shit from, you know, the oppressors. And, you know, that's the cool version of Pluto in the 11th house, because Pluto is secrecy. You might be prone, like I said before, to secret societies and secret information. You might be privy to like the new innovations that haven't come out yet, or you might find yourself in a position of making money through like research in technology, in sciences, innovations, things like that as well. That might be something that interests you. That might be something that you do a lot of research on. That might be some way that you get your financial gains. But Pluto always starts off humble. So you may not see this manifest in your life until you really get your shit together and you stop operating on that low frequency. Because the thing is with Pluto is, when you tap into his energy, like I said before, and it becomes your superpower, and he can give you these blessings because you're using his energy in the right way and you're learning the lessons Pluto wants you to learn, then you can get blessed. But the second that you flip it and start operating on the lower frequency again, that is where Pluto will rip the rug straight from under you. And you might think that like, oh, you're on top of the world and you're manipulating and being maniacal and subversive, you know, to your social societies and in your friend group or whatever, and maneuvering around people. It will catch up to you, because Pluto always catches up. There's no escape from the eternal sovereign lord of the underworld. There is no escape from Pluto. So do not use his energy that he gave you for bad. Use it for good. And yeah, so that is my video of Pluto in the 11th house. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. And if you want me to do a reading for you, just feel free to send me an email and I will get back to you with what I offer. Alrighty? Ciao.